Hey, great day. Welcome to today's episode. And so, before you take the plunge and launch a digital product, I will be walking you through the 7 things that I do every single time that I get ready to launch a digital product that is new. So, if that's something that you're interested in, stay tuned. All right. Hey, welcome back, everybody. And so, in today's podcast episode, I want to talk about 7 things to do before you launch a digital product. So, you want to think about it like this. Before you jump into breaking out and designing an ebook, maybe a course, a virtual masterclass, I want you to pause because today we will be talking about what's called the prep work, planting the seeds. You're in your planting season. And so, what you'll learn in this episode is specifically what to do before you build anything so that your digital product actually makes sense for your life, for your audience, and for your schedule. So, let's go ahead and dive in. Number one is knowing your goal. And so, you want to take some time to ask yourself, what is the purpose of this product that you have an idea for? For example, are you trying to help more people? Are you trying to help them with what exactly, like earning extra income, buying back their time, making something more simplified? So sometimes we typically think about how much money we want to make, but I really want you to think about, how are you going to help these individuals solve a problem? And yes, what is it going to do for you and your business in terms of how many people do you want to be served? How many items do you want to be served? And yes, how much money you actually want to make. Number two is you want to choose your season. And so I want to do a lot of reflection in the planting season. You can ask yourself, when do I actually have the time and energy to build and to launch it? Because let's be real, we're not short of any ideas. However, we might be short on time, not paying attention to our season, your life schedule, your kid schedule, your marital schedule, your already 9 to 5 or career or business schedule. And you want to build out time to actually launch and market the product. So, something else you want to look at when we're talking about season is avoiding launching a digital product when you are in a season of chaos, because your digital product isn't meant to be launched so that it feels rushed. So, for example, you don't want to wake up on November 15th and say, you know what, in 10 days, it's going to be Black Friday. So, I want to launch something really quick, this idea that I've been thinking about for a year. Versus if the seed was planted in January, then why don't you start showing up as the expert in the marketplace that will then offer that digital product 11, 10 months later? Why don't you start showing up in the marketplace right now, planting seeds? Now, I'm not saying that the planting seeds era has to last 10 months, but it also should not feel rushed in 10 days, especially if you've never even talked about that topic before. Moving on, number three, you want to pick one product. I want to spell that out. One product. So don't try to launch 3 things at a time. You want to start with one. So, for example, I first wrote and launched a book. Then the book turned into a masterclass. Then the masterclass turned into speaking engagements, meaning other people called me to come and speak to their audience. Then that turned into coaching services, one step at a time. And to me, those are the best products to offer because you already have an audience for it. Number four, collect your ideas all in one place. So there is nothing worse than having 5 ideas on your phone, 10 ideas on a Notion board, 20 ideas in random documents on Google, 30 ideas in 30 threads on ChatGPT. You want to create one document, name it whatever you would like to be abundant, or just call it outright what it is, an ideas journal, an ideas list for 2020, whatever the year is, and put it all in one place. And what I would also encourage you to do is brain dump. So brain dump means there does not need to be any organization to the thoughts. Just get them out of your head, because once you try to start organizing your thoughts, you're going to lead into, let me figure out a launch process. And then you're going to use all this time. That's not wasted time. However, maybe you could have spent more energy just getting everything out of your mind at once. Therefore, you can go about your day. And the way that I typically treat my ideas is that the same idea starts to present itself, then I will know that I'm on to something because my heart says so. My desires say so. Okay. So you can use apps like Google Doc. You can use a notepad on your phone. You can use, if you use project management boards, you can use like a Trello or a Notion. You can use Canva. You can use an outline in a notebook. You can use whatever you would like, but I would just say choose one place. Number 5 is you want to identify your audience for your digital product before you launch the product. So ask yourself, based on the idea that you landed with and that you're going with, who is the digital product for? Be ultra clear and specific. So I'll give you an example. One of my products is only, I use the word only because I exclude everybody else. It is only for mental health providers, therapists, social workers, and then I can even say titles, but I typically say even just therapists, because people classify themselves beyond their licensure titles as a therapist if they want to open or grow a profitable private practice. So I was very specific. I help mental health therapists open and grow. Grow insinuates with my marketing, relaunching a solo private practice so that they can get their time back, create abundance in their life, and have clearly a profitable business. Now, of course, more information will be delivered later when I do like a masterclass or a boot camp, where I'm then breaking down how I will help them be able to get to that goal through what I consider building out operating systems, right? But I'm very, very particular. I know my audience. Now, you may be wondering, well, how do I get ultra clear about who my audience is? And a simple answer is talk to your audience. Once they start talking back, you want to look at what piece of content or information were they talking back to. And that will give you a strong indicator that you probably need to double down in that area, because that's what they are attached to right now in their season. Number 6, you do want to set up simple systems. So you don't need any fancy tech, especially when you're beginning with a digital product. All that I ask is that you get organized. So where will you house all of your, let's just say, step-by-step process of launching the digital product? So maybe you put it on a Google Doc in a Drive folder that's called the name of the product, right? Then you can have a spreadsheet in there. You can have your Google Docs in there. If you want to use apps like Notion, Trello, Asana, Monday, they have some that are free, they have some that are not. But if we're talking about lowest cost to begin with, you can then maybe create a visual checklist. Maybe you're not a person where you do well with Excel sheets or a document with checkboxes. Maybe you would prefer to actually have boards where maybe you can even drag over saying, I'm done with this. I succeeded. Another system that people sleep on related to the digital products is email marketing. So you can use email marketing platforms that are free. Now, where I would say start for basic email marketing is within the system that you already have. So, for example, if you invested in an upgraded version for your website, like a Wix, Squarespace, or whatnot, and it comes with free email marketing, if you're only launching that one product, then I would say that's fine, because you're only going to have one audience of interest. Things get more complicated when websites add on email marketing, but that's not what it's built for, because then you cannot segment your audience. Let me just slide this in here. Segment means I may put out content to my whole email list for a newsletter, but then certain people may express interest only in digital products. Some people may express interest in solo private practice. Some people may express interest in only group practice. Those are 3 different mental health providers in their journey. So if I have something very specific to group practice owners, I may choose to send initially 3 direct emails only to those people who have expressed interest in terms of they got on certain lists, they got a free download, they opted into a boot camp of some sort. So they've already identified themselves to my system as, hey, I'm interested in this. But when you go through the route of a non traditional email marketing system, everybody may be lumped together, and that may not do you as well over time, but it's fine to start there. As you start marketing different types of products, you may want to invest in platforms like ConvertKit. All of these systems that I am mentioning, I will link them up below, the ones that I have personally used. For example, I've used ConvertKit for over 9 years at this point through my digital products and coaching business. And I love it because it's simplified. They do have a free version and it's very easy to use. Okay. But bottom line is set up simple systems. Okay. And we're not even talking about the sales process yet. We're just talking about how do you collect people's information so that you can market to them. Number 7 is check your mindset. Check your mindset. Yes, I said it. So this part really matters. And this part is, again, overlooked by entrepreneurs, especially people who work with other people on their mindset. So ask yourself, am I doing this from a place of peace or pressure? You want to create your digital product from a state of overflow, not from a state of burnout. Okay. So let me share with you a mini case study or story. Okay. So when I first started getting into digital products related to people getting my one on one time, I did not start off with any fancy tech. So I started off with Zoom and Gmail, and then I found out about Calendly, the free version, later. So Calendly was linked to my Zoom. Now I was paying for Zoom due to some other business ventures that I had had, like $15 a month. So I signed up for Calendly. I integrated my Zoom, meaning when you filled out a form and you got on my calendar, it automatically created a Zoom link. So $15 a month, not bad. I hopped on a Zoom call. I did, consultation calls for people who were interested in me coaching them. And then I sent them an email through my G Suite that I already had for other things in my business. Now, even to scale back a step from that, before I was on Zoom, I was actually doing phone calls. Yes, I was getting on the phone, but I realized that I prefer to see people's body language when they're speaking to me so that if I notice that things are not congruent, like you're saying that you're this, but you are showing up, like hunched over and you're not confident, but you're sounding confident, I might be able to assume that that's the case when I'm talking to you over the phone, but I really can't physically see that if I cannot see you, even if I can only see from the shoulder up. So I noticed that I was able to connect easier and faster because also on Zoom, people were able to feel my personality as well. And so there was no high tech level required, simple conversation. They said yes or they said no. If they said yes, I send them the information. I give them a deadline of when they have to sign up by because I typically have limited spots when it comes down to my time one on one. But let's be all the way crystal clear. It's not about just the tools. It's specifically first about your mindset with clarity and your plan to go all in. Okay. So, what I would like you to do if you found this podcast episode helpful, I want you to, if you're watching on YouTube, go down to the comment box and let me know your biggest takeaway. I also want you to check out the resources in the description box because if I do have any masterclasses for digital products where I dive in deeper, there will be the ability for you to register at that time or access resources that I have for digital products. If you are listening on the audio podcast, you can hop over to Instagram or over to YouTube to check out the resources as well, but also just simply check out the show notes. So I love having you back because this is a 4-part series on launching a digital product from scratch. I will be walking you through the stages and the phases and the journey. And so if you'd like to hear more about this, make sure that you subscribe, follow the podcast, follow this YouTube channel, like this video, and I will talk to y'all in the next podcast episode. Have a great day. Bye.